Sanibonani bonani dumelang abusheni thabela. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my name is Dumela Milo Kid and this is the Milo Talk Show. You can follow me on all my social platforms, and if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, please remember to click that subscribe button and tap that notification bell as well to get notified when new videos get released. Today is a very sad day indeed, as it is the day after the passing of the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. I'm going to be talking about all the things that she has encountered as the Queen of England, her reign as Queen, and for the question that is probably in everyone's mind, which is who is going to be the next ruler of England. Without wasting any further time, it's time for hashtag Let's Have a Talk. Let's do this. We all know Queen Elizabeth as the longest reigning Queen of England. Queen Elizabeth became queen in 1952 after the death of her father, and ever since that time, she has served her longest reign. She passed on peacefully at her Scottish estate, which is where she spent most of the summer. Before her death, doctors were concerned about her health, and this is when all the senior royals gathered at the Balmoral before all these things happened or all these things took place. She died at the age of 96 years old, and she is going to be missed by many. Her son King Charles said that the death of his mother was a moment of great sadness for him and his family, and that her loss would be deeply felt around the world, which is a fact. We are all feeling the sadness throughout the death of Queen Elizabeth. I mean, ever since myself growing up, I have known Queen Elizabeth to be a queen, and she has made many moves around the world, and I always wondered as to when is her time going to come to an end. Not in a bad way, but then she was over 90. I mean, my own grandmother never reached that age, so what an achievement for you, Queen Elizabeth. So the prince said that we mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms and the Commonwealth, and by the countless people around the world. Ever since the reign of the Queen, she experienced many social changes and a lot of things took place. So Queen Elizabeth's tenure as head of state spent post-war austerity, the transition from empire to Commonwealth, the end of the Cold War, and the UK's entry into and withdrawal from the European Union. Her reign spanned 15 prime ministers, starting with Winston Churchill, born in 1874, and including Miss Truss, born 101 years later in 1975. She held weekly audiences with her prime minister throughout her reign. Wow, so Queen Elizabeth has encountered a lot on her reign as the Queen of England, and she definitely brought a lot of positive changes to the country. Salute to you, Queen, and may the people that come after you make all the moves that you made to ensure that your country is at peace and your country is reigning. Moving on, we are going to be talking about the life of the Queen, and for us to actually know who she was and what she stood for. So the Queen was born Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor in Mayfair, London on the 21st of April 1926. Few could have foreseen she would become monarch, but in December 1936, her uncle Edward abdicated from the throne to marry the twice divorced American Wallis Simpson. Elizabeth's father became King George, and at age 10, Lilibet, as she was known in the family, became heir to the throne. Within 3 years, Britain was at war with Nazi Germany. Elizabeth and her younger sister, Princess Margaret, spent most of the wartime at Windsor Castle after their parents rejected suggestions they be evacuated to Canada. After turning 18, Elizabeth spent 5 months with the Auxiliary Territorial Service and learned basic motor mechanic and driving skills. She said, "I began to understand the esprit de corps that flourishes in the face of adversity," she later recalled. Through the war, she exchanged letters with her third cousin, Philip, Prince of Greece, who was serving in the Royal Navy. Their romance blossomed and the couple married at Westminster Abbey on the 20th of November 1947, with the prince taking the title of Duke of Edinburgh. So You know those things that took place in the olden days whereby cousins could marry each other and so forth. This is precisely the same case. However, we know that in royal families, you actually have to marry someone that has got royal blood to actually continue that bloodline. Now, this ended with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. She would later describe him as my strength and stay through 74 years of marriage before his death in 2021, aged 99 years of age. Now, their first son, Charles, was born in 1948, followed by Princess Anne in 1950, Prince Andrew in 1960, and Prince Edward in 1964. Between them, they gave their parents 8 grandchildren and 12 great-grandchildren. Princess Elizabeth was in Kenya in 1952, representing the ailing king when Philip broke the news that her father had died. She immediately returned to London as the new queen. It was all very sudden, kind of taking on and making the best job you can, she later recalled. Well, I can actually imagine when you know that you are going to be a ruler at the age of 22 or 21 or 23. I can't exactly estimate as to me not making my calculations on time, but yeah, somewhere between those ages. So Elizabeth was crowned at Westminster Abbey on the 2nd of June 1953, aged 27, in front of a then record TV audience estimated at more than 20 million people. Subsequent decades would see great change with the end of the British Empire overseas and the swinging 60s sweeping away social norms at home. Elizabeth reformed the monarchy for this less differential age, engaging with the public through walkabouts, royal visits, and attendance at public events. Her commitment to the Commonwealth was a constant. She visited every Commonwealth country at least once, but there were periods of private and public pay. In 1992, the Queen's Annus Horribilis fire-devastated Windsor Castle, a private residence, as well as working palace, and 3 of her children's marriages broke down. After the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, in a car accident in Paris in 1997, the Queen drew criticism for appearing reluctant to respond publicly. There were questions about the monarchy's relevance in modern society. No institution should expect to be free from the scrutiny of those who give it their loyalty and support, not to mention those who don't, she acknowledged. As a 21-year-old princess, Elizabeth had vowed to devote her life to service. Reflecting on those words decades later, during her Silver Jubilee in 1977, she declared, "Although that vow was made in my salad days when I was green in judgment, I do not regret nor retract one word of it." That same commitment to serving was made 45 years later in a thank you letter to the nation on the weekend of her Platinum Jubilee in June. The milestone was celebrated with a mix of state ceremonies and a colorful festival of all things British, as well as lively street parties. Although the Queen's health kept her from some events, she said, "My heart has been with you all." In a moment met with cheers from huge crowds in the mall, she was joined by 3 generations of her family on the Buckingham Palace balcony for the finale of a pageant. She died peacefully on Thursday afternoon at her Scottish estate, where she had spent much of the summer. And I know there's definitely one question that is definitely rotating in everyone's minds, which is, who is going to be the next ruler of England? Well, it's going to be her eldest son, Prince Charles, who is now King Charles. You know, usually we had a queen and a prince, but this time things have changed. We now have a queen and a king, or rather should I say a king and a queen consort, meaning that isn't this chinchile, things have changed, times have evolved, new things are happening. So it's definitely King Charles who is going to be the next successor of the throne. Congratulations are in order for King Charles, and we wish him a long reign as well. God save the king. Our condolences go to the entire royal family and of course the country as a whole, and may the queen's soul rest in eternal peace. Remember that all your thoughts are welcome in the comment section. That's all from me, Jubilee. Let's meet next time right here on YouTube. Aware.